Hello, this is Annalise. Today, I'm going to be going through my animal shelter slides. So this is a classroom that I've seen going around. I tried to find the person who created it first. I didn't have any luck, but I want to thank them because this was a really cool idea. And I think for their purpose, it was a writing assignment, creative writing assignment, but for us we wanted to change it to be a reward system kind of for kids who are staying on track, doing their online work well. So I made this. I'm a teaching artist and I enjoy working with online things and technology. The woman you see on the dinosaur is my mom, who teaches 4th grade currently. So we're going to be going through. I'm going to show you in present mode first off. This is the lobby. This is where you can get to the rest of the build. Let's go through the adoptions first. Go to dogs. I'm in an active version, so some of the pets are gone because they've been adopted. So this is one of the pages. I think there's 3 pages of dogs and cats, and then there's 4 of the exotic pets. But you can see here we have arrows. The arrows will scroll you through the pets. We have all these cute dogs here for adoption. When the kids adopt them, they can change their names if they want. And every kid gets their own room. And then when you get to the end, it'll loop around. And, we've seen the dogs, so let's go back to the lobby. Go into cats. You can see all the cats that are available. Then it loops around. Go back to lobby. Exotic pets, we have saltwater fish here, freshwater fish, reptiles, and other like ferrets and bunnies and birds. And again, it loops around with the arrows, so we go back to the lobby. We also have accessories for the pets, beds. We'll take you to Ralph's House of Beds, which has quite a few slides. I didn't make this one loop around, so you can't go back, but you can go forward through the selection and go back to this page. So you can see I wanted to add lots of beds so that everyone can get a cool bed for their pet, no matter what their pet is. It's got some ferns, because I feel like if I was a fish, I would want to sleep in a fern. And some cat trees and little hanging beds. And then you can go back through if you want. Toys. We got Ziggy's toys. Here's Ziggy. And there's plenty of stuff to choose from, stuff that every kid and animal can enjoy. And then we have the treat store. Tilly's Tasty Treats. We got all sorts of meats for our carnivores. There's some bugs and shrimp for some of the reptiles or fish. And then a big variety of different treat-like foods and some veggies for our vegetarian. And then here, student rooms, you can see currently these are the kids who have earned pets through their work. So we can go to those. But first, I'm going to take you to Browse Backgrounds, and that's a place for the kids to look through all of the available backgrounds. And this goes in a loop too. These are pictures that I have at a later point in the slide set so that you as a teacher can download them, and whatever backgrounds the kids choose, you can put that in their personal room. So yeah, that's the end of those. Go back to lobby, and this will take you into the rooms. So we can see this is Aiden's room. He chose Nellie. Well, he chose Ellie. He renamed her Nellie. She's got her little bed, and we can also just kind of go through these rooms. Got bubbles. And then, yeah, that's an empty one, so we'll head back to the lobby, and that's about it. So, that's kind of how you use it. That's how the kids would be using it, is they can go through and browse the things that they would want to get for their pets, the pets they would want to adopt. And it's just a fun environment that can see how other people have set up their rooms and stuff. So now we'll go to the slides and I'll show you a little bit of how to customize. So this is pretty complicated. I know I definitely did more than the average person might do, but I really enjoy design and I wanted to make something that young child me would have loved. I still love it. It's still great, but me as a kid would have gone crazy over this. So in here, all the stuff is pretty easy. Everything's set up to be linked back to the slide as it should be. This background, I mean, this is an invisible box, but the background is a still image. All of the GIFs and the things in front of the GIFs are clickable, but the background isn't changeable. So if you wanted to change the background, take something out like the plants or the TV or the lights, or switch it out or whatever, you would scroll down, and down here below all of these skipped slides, I have the originals of every room. So in here you can go in and, you know, if you want to move the clock, you can. If you want to change the rug, you know, whatever. These signs I did make myself in Photoshop, so there's not anything really in this that you can do to change it. So if you wanted to get rid of one of these categories, add a category, you might have to do that yourself. Find some wood or find a PNG that has a sign that you can then customize. All of the wood items that have this text with the kind of inset shadow, that's stuff that I made and isn't super, it's not really editable unless you have an editing software like Photoshop. So like the back to lobby, these arrows, those are all just flat images that were made outside of this program. So I want to show you an important thing to remember if you're changing things is these arrows and what they link to. So, you know, these 3 slides here are the dog kennels, and slide 5, when you press over, this one links back to slide 3, which is the beginning of a loop. So if you were to add a slide in here, you would have to make sure that the arrows continue in the right way. So apart from that, I'm going to show you how to set up one of the kids' rooms. So we would go into the student rooms. So if you wanted to add a student, so let's say we want this to be Ashley's room. So this links to the next slide, slide 22. Rename that. They're still linked to each other. And for example, Ashley wants to change their background to be something else. So I have down here below these are all sorts of resources for you. They have the objects that I've used and everything. And I also have this slide here with all of the backgrounds that kids can add to their rooms. And here's a little explanation in case you forget. But what you do if you want to save these, which I suggest making a folder for this project and putting these backgrounds in there so they're easy for you to navigate to. But what you want to do is right click, go all the way down to save to keep. It'll show up in this bar over here, and then you go to save image as, and you can name it whatever you want, save it wherever you want. So then, once you have these images saved, let's say, for example, Ashley wants some kind of lizard background. And I figure, you know, kids can be as creative as they want. They can put whatever background, whatever pet, whatever food, whatever bed. It's just for fun. So to change the background of the slide, you go up here to background, choose image, browse. It'll take you to your file explorer. I'm already in my folder that has my assets in it, which is the rooms that I've made. So I'm going to give her, let's do this one. Done. That's actually not one of the backgrounds, but we'll use this one for an example. And that's how you basically change the background. These things should still stay here because they aren't part of the background. And just keep in mind you have this invisible box that you want to always be in the back so it's easy to grab any of the objects in front of it. So let's go grab Ashley a pet. We'll say maybe Ashley wants Turbo. So I'm gonna grab both Turbo's name and Turbo himself. Control C, which is copy. You can also right click, go up to copy, and I'm gonna remove Turbo from this area. Actually, another thing you can do to show that pets have been adopted is you can go to Format Options, and then in Adjustments, you can turn the brightness all the way down, and then it blacks out the GIF. So we know that that animal has been adopted. It's not really available anymore. So then we go down to Ashley's room, Control V, or you can right click and go down to paste. And I think that even though Turbo looked fine in that other room, here he seems a little small. So let's make him bigger. And maybe Ashley decided that his name is gonna be Tank. And that's cool. So now we have Tank. And then let's get a bed for him. Let's see. Let's get him a watermelon bed maybe. So Control C. Control V. Or paste. So another thing is anytime that you place a new element into these slides, it's going to automatically boost it to the top. We don't want that for this. We want Tank to be able to sit on his bed. So how to move that back, you can right click. We're going to mess with the order. And order here, you can see we have bring to front, bring forward, send backward, and send to back. So for this specifically, we don't want to send to back because that will put it behind our invisible box, and then it won't be easy to grab it if we need to move it. So what we want to do is send back until it is just behind the items of Tank and the name. So you can also do that by holding Control and pressing the down button on your keyboard. You might have to press it a few times to get it into the position you want, but that'll move it back in the order of everything on the slide. So it's behind Tank, but because it came on after this, it's probably in front of it. So if you have something that's going to be down here somewhere, you're going to have to continue to press Control down until it's behind it. And that just messes with the order so you can see certain things. You'll see, because this is in front now, if I click down here, it's going to grab this, not the watermelon. So that'll help if you have any errors trying to click things, or if it's not clicking the right thing, it might be because of the order. So we have this little watermelon bed. We can put Tank on it. Nice and cozy. And that's about it. I mean, the way that the shops work is pretty much the same. We decided to make animals disappear when they're adopted, so there's only one copy of them, but as for treats and beds and such, you know, we figure they have multiple copies, so you can just Control C, Control V on all of that. Oh, I also want to show you, so I'm going to get rid of all this because this is my copy for sharing. I don't want to have any of these edits. I want it to be the blank template. And what I'm doing right here is I am pressing Control Z, which is the universal undo command. And you can continue pressing Control Z. I usually just hold down Control and continue to press Z. And that will undo anything you've done. It will not infinitely undo. At a certain point, the website or program will stop keeping a track of all of the moves you've done, but it will work up to a certain point, and that's how you can get rid of stuff. But if, for example, you say, actually, I want to redo that, you press Control Z, you actually want to redo it. If you press Shift Control Z, it will redo the last thing that you undid with Control Z. So I can continually press Shift Control Z, and it'll continue to redo the things I just undid. As soon as you add a new thing to that process, it will lose anything in that chain, so you have to be a little bit careful, but that's a good way to undo things if you decide you don't like something, or if you undid something and you want it back. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoy this. Huge props to the person who made it originally. I love the idea. This was mostly me kind of getting my hands dirty, and for our purposes, we wanted a little bit more. I definitely did way too much probably, but I know child me would have loved this. I hope all the kids you're working with love this, and hopefully you guys get some use out of it. I hope that you have a good time. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to answer things if there's anything you want me to go more in depth on, but it should be fairly easy if you just want to use it. It might get complicated if you want to take it apart and customize things, but I'll try to be there for you if that's the route you want to go. So thanks again, and I'll see you later. One last thing I wanted to mention about this, when you do publish it, which I recommend making a copy, and like this one I have in parentheses for sharing. I have one that's for publishing, for editing. So when you publish it, I would make a separate copy for that. And in the published version, just go ahead and select all of these unhidden slides and just delete them, because they're just taking up space. They don't need to be there. And it pares down some of the information inside of this. This is just for when you're looking to edit things, change things, download elements, anything like that.